24 minutes before 11 o'clock. We start a conversation now with Jeff Radebe. This is the man who has been tasked with rebuilding and cleaning up the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal following the party's dismal performance at the polls. The ANC in KwaZulu-Natal has now reconfigured its regional executive committees across the province after their term of office lapsed, effectively dissolving about 11 regions in that province. Jeff Radebe joining us now via Zoom. Mr. Radebe, thank you for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and all your listeners of 702. Thanks for inviting me to your show.
So I know this is important work that's being done in Johannesburg, in Gauteng, and in KwaZulu-Natal, but you've got parties now that are preparing for elections next year, and you're still trying to clean up house as the ANC. Are you not worried about time that you're losing from campaigning?
Well, first of all, Clement, let me correct you when you say that we have dissolved the regions. We have not dissolved the regions. All their term of office expired as at the end of May of this year. So what we have done, authorized by the provincial task team, the provincial working committee, on Friday, establish 11 regional task team that are responsible for rebuilding and renewing the ANC.
Oh, so their terms of office had ended in May.
Yes, that expired.
And then
so
the
there's
elections,
no hiatus.
Are there not going to be any
Come
elections?
again?
Are there not going to be any elections? Are those regions now going to be run by task teams?
Yes, they're going to be run by task team. As you know, in February of this year, the National Executive Committee of the ANC reconfigured KwaZulu-Natal as well as Gauteng. We were appointed by the National Executive Committee. And then we intend, after the expiry of these 11 regional executive committees, we have now established regional task team that are charged with the responsibility of renewing and rebuilding the ANC, the branches and all.
Okay, thank you so much for that clarification. So the question about elections and campaigning, are you not worried that this is now taking so much time that by the time elections are here, you haven't really done enough groundwork in as far as campaigning is concerned, because you're spending so much time also maybe cleaning house?
Well, it's never too late to start a good thing. A good thing has been started with the establishment of all this regional task team. I'm happy to indicate to you, Clement, that this past weekend on Saturday and Sunday, the Alliance in KwaZulu-Natal had a very productive and fruitful local government and service delivery summit where we were speaking with one voice with our partners in COSATU, SACP, SANCO, as well as other progressive formation to ensure that we are well prepared for the oncoming local government elections in 2026. So everything is on track as we speak.
And of course, we care about KwaZulu-Natal because it's quite a critical province for the African National Congress. And in fact, just broadly, even a lot of political parties would spend a lot of time there because that's where they know they want to get as many numbers of voters as possible. One of the tasks, I think, was to audit branches and verify membership to ensure the party's processes are credible ahead of the elections. Are they credible? What have you found together with your team in as far as the state of that province is concerned?
Well, I need to clarify that point as well, that the National Executive Committee has also adopted a new membership system. So that is why at this moment in time, the leadership of the province, together with this established regional task team and our branches, we're going to be starting that process, continue with that process of verifying each and every member of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal to ensure that they are aligned to the new membership system. We did try it at the last meeting of the National Executive Committee in March. The new membership system is foolproof as far as IT is concerned. we are believing as the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal that all systems going forward.
And in as far as the state of, I mean, I assume you're speaking to members on the ground. What are you finding? I remember at a policy conference of the ANC a couple of years ago when Gwede was Secretary General. I remember that in his, was it a political report or organizational report, spoke about the state of an ANC member and, whether ideologically, do they actually understand politics? Do they understand the policies? And there were concerns about that. And that was like years ago. What have you found from the conversations you're having with the members, but also with the leaders, whether it's at a regional level or at a local level beyond the region? What are you finding about ANC members and the state of that membership?
Well, what we are finding out that also emanated, that was revealed at this last weekend's Service Delivery and Local Government Summit, was that we need to do more as the ANC to serve our people, because people are crying out for leadership. They are crying out for good and better service delivery to their communities, to deliver roads, all the other infrastructure that is necessary. So with this establishment of the regional task team, we believe we have identified capable, trusted, and loyal members who are not only loyal to the ANC, but to the communities that they need to serve. That is why we brought all our ANC councillors, all our top activists, so that we indicate to them in no uncertain terms that corruption, mismanagement, all those things must be things of the past. Going forward, let's serve our people, serve them in unity, serve them with a purpose, and also identify people who are going to be serving our communities without any fear or favor and no interference from political establishment. So I'm very confident that we are rebuilding, we are renewing the ANC that must be at the center of building a trustworthy organization.
Is it possible, though, from in your view and from what you've assessed so far, is it possible to really save the ANC in the province and bring it back to sort of the party that used to have the majority in the province? I mean, the support falling to, was it 17% from 54%? Is it even possible to get to a point where the ANC can get over 60%, especially in the short term? Because you've got the MK party, which believes it's the fastest growing organization. Some of the members of the MK party are people that have left the ANC.
Well, I believe that the people still have faith in the ANC. The dismal failure of our organization in last year's election is a wake-up call. I also believe as well that that was a cry from the people. The people have not deserted the ANC. They are telling the ANC, do the right thing, because many of the people who the loss that we suffered was a result that our loyal supporters never went to the polls. So that is why this rebuilding and renewal process is going to all the corners of KwaZulu-Natal. And already we can see the improvement in terms of their perception of the organization because of the reception that we are encountering in our engagements with various stakeholders of KwaZulu society. As you know, that we paid a courtesy call to His Majesty the King, traditional leaders. We've had various engagements with business, with civil society, with religious organizations and leaders. All these have affirmed to us because of the attendance to all these influential people that people see that the ANC has come back home.
Here's a challenge, though, Mr. Radebe. It's all good and well to diagnose what the problem was that led to loyal members of the ANC not going to the polls to vote. The question, though, is have you actually changed what they were concerned about? For instance, if I asked you, from the assessment you've made as an organization, why do you think people didn't vote for you as the ANC?
Well, as I've indicated, people did not vote because they believe that the service delivery was very poor, and I've seen it myself, even in terms of infrastructure delivery to our communities, where funds that have been budgets that have been properly appropriated, not been spent, being returned to national treasury. So all these issues of ethical leadership, issues of good corporate governance are the things that we are focusing our attention to ensure that we improve in terms of delivering good and quality services to our people.
And that is precisely my point, that there's very same things that South Africans who were loyal supporters of the ANC, the reason they didn't vote for the ANC were the reasons you outline. But those things are still happening. You speak about service delivery and how poor it is. There is still incredible poor service delivery in many, 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 many
That is why,
areas.
as I said, this summit that was held this weekend, we came up with steps that have to be taken to ensure that those that are not in line with this ethical leadership, they are going to be removed from the ANC. We made it very clear that corruption and mismanagement must be rooted out, root and branch in the ANC and all the structures where the ANC people are represented. Whether that corruption wears a black, green, gold logo of the ANC or not, corruption is corruption, must be rooted out.
How different, though, is that summit from all the other summits that have been held? Because there are many times as the organization where you've made similar promises in the past that we are fixing local government. There are many times when even the president, through government programs, has gone to communities and has had listening sessions, and they promised for years now that things are going to change, and yet service delivery remains the same. On ethical leadership, you've got ministers that are practically being disloyal and not being honest with parliament, and those people are still in their positions. Nothing seems to be shifting. So again, my question is, do you seriously think the ANC has done enough to demonstrate to South Africans that we've heard you and we're interested in making amends and doing differently?
Well, you are correct. Actions speak louder than words. We believe that the good of the pudding is in the eating. You watch the space when we appoint and elect people who are going to be representing us to local government. All these criteria that I've indicated will be properly scrutinized by us to ensure that we appoint and elect people who must serve the people of South Africa, not just card-carrying members of the ANC, that the people who are being appointed to positions in local government are not there to get a reward, but to serve the people of KwaZulu-Natal.
All right, it's 11 minutes now before 11 o'clock. We're in conversation with Jeff Radebe, an ANC veteran and ANC KZN provincial convener. If you've got some inputs, you've got questions for him, you can give us a call on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line 0727021702. What is it that you want the ANC? And I'm speaking now directly to people who have voted for the ANC previously and chose not to vote for the ANC in the last elections last year, or chose to stay away. What was it for you? What was it for you? And maybe you're in KwaZulu-Natal yourself or outside of KwaZulu-Natal. What was it for you? And have you started seeing the changes? What would you like the ANC to do differently so that they can have your trust back and you can vote for them in the next elections? Give us a call or send a WhatsApp voice note. 7 minutes before 11 o'clock. Let's start with your WhatsApp.
Good morning, Clement. Interesting listening to what Mr. Radebe has to say. But I don't think we're going to see any change. You know that the saying that talk is cheap. You have to see it in actions. And now that they've realized what the complaint is from the people, we're not seeing any changes at all. Instead, we still read about money being plundered, money being misdirected and misused, and their deployees behaving as if they are still in power. Robert.
Thank you, Robert, for your WhatsApp. I'll get Mr. Radebe to respond to that in a moment. Sandy, so you are calling us from Parktown. Good morning.
Clement, how are you, sir?
Sharp, man. Go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, my feeling is that the actual job of politicians in general is to be able to lead the country, and leading the country means taking care of the basic things. You understand? Control the economy, make sure employment is not even a question, especially with the ANC having been in power for so long. You understand? But they are failing even on the most mundane things. And I actually felt this morning that the only highlight, of politicians that we perhaps know them in their entire career to have done is to go and speak in parliament, is to go and conduct interviews like the one you're conducting right now. There's nothing else practical that we know that has been done, that is tangible, that politicians have done. I mean, I was actually thinking even Gautrain, which is the only mode of transport of its kind in the country, came to be because of the legacy of the 2010 World Cup. I felt even if there wasn't a 2010 World Cup, we perhaps wouldn't even have a Gautrain. So in my sense right now, I feel the ANC doesn't deserve any opportunity, any chance whatsoever. They just need to be voted out. And I actually feel so embarrassed how people have even given them, the little votes that they got the last time in the last national elections. The ANC doesn't deserve any vote from anyone who's conscious of what a leading party should do. To take care of at least the basics, just the roads, the water, and all the basic things. But the ANC can't just do even the basics of the basics. They're just failing altogether.
Sandy, so in Parktown, thank you so much for your call. Mr. Radebe, you can respond. Maybe what you could do is also share with us what have been the lessons? Are there positive things that you can maybe tell the listeners that, look at what we're doing here, that shows you that we've heard you, we've listened to you. And I'm not just talking about the summits and the talks, like tangible stuff that listeners can say, so they've heard us, then they deserve to actually be given another opportunity.
Thanks to the two listeners who have asked question, Robert. It is true that politicians like to talk, but I want to assure Mr. Robert that talk is not always cheap. Actions speak louder than words. It is true that there is corruption in South African society, but to universally indicate that it's just the ANC that is corrupt throughout, it is not correct. There is change that is taking place in South Africa. We can see the improvement that are happening in our society. And Sandiso says that we are failing as the ANC. I do not share that sentiment. If you look at what South Africa was before 1994, it is the ANC government that has brought fundamental changes. Let's start with the constitution. Under the system of apartheid, we were ruled by an autocratic racist regime that was plundering the resources of our country. Now we've got a rule of law that is based on the constitution. It is not true that it's just few infrastructure projects that the ANC government has done, like the Gautrain. There are many, the highways that you see today that are more than 20 kilometers throughout the length and breadth of South Africa. The dams that have been done has been done by the ANC. Education, we have put education as the number one priority in our country, ensuring that even people in the rural areas are able to get access to education. There are massive progress that has been attained in the past 30 years. I don't have enough time to explain many of the achievements that have been made. But yes, corruption is there. That is why we are very firm as the ANC that those that are found with their hands on the till must meet the might of the law. As we have seen, even many top people have been charged in our courts of law for corruption. It doesn't mean that a person who wears black, green, and gold ANC colors is immune from corruption. That is why we are saying that those who are corrupt, whether they're ANC or not, must be chucked out in all responsibilities.
All right. Jeff Radebe, ANC veteran and ANC KZN provincial convener, I really appreciate your time this morning. It's a minute before 11.
Hanging out with Clement
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.